Hello my Wolfpack and welcome back to another episode of our Pokemon Competitive Guide video. So today we are in the Uber's corner of things. We are with Dialga. Now Dialga has a really fun typing. It's Steel Dragon type. Its main weakness being like fighting and ground type moves, which are very common, but it does have quite a few resistances. It's also not weak to dragon type moves as most other dragons are. It's actually a really quite a fun Pokemon to look at, to potentially play as, and it has got some utility support as well. Now, Ubers wise, it's got relatively standard stats for an Ubers Pokemon. Base 100 in its HP, 120 in defense, and 100 in special defense, meaning it should be able to live a hit, maybe two. Base 120 in attack and base 150 in special attack. Now normally you're going to run it as a specially attacking Pokemon, but you definitely could run it as an attack Pokemon as well. And then finally base 90 in speed, which is a little bit lackluster, but we have got something to help you out with that. So today, 3 sets, but before we get started, scroll down, click that like button, also subscribe if you haven't done so already. I really appreciate it, and it will show you any future competitive guides that are to come out, and the future, because competitive guides are very almost done now. So, yeah, first Dialga I've got is a Throat Spray Hyper Voice set. Now, base 150 special attack is huge, but if we can get a +1 to that, just from using a Hyper Voice, that is going to be absolutely incredible. And the thing is, there's not many steel types in Ubers. There aren't many ghost types in Ubers either that are commonly run from what I can see. I don't play Ubers very often, but from what I can see there's not a huge amount. So Hyper Voice can be quite safe to go for to get you that +1 in your special attack, giving you basically about 600 in your special attack, obviously making you a lot more powerful, meaning that your Dragon Pulse, your Flamethrower are going to hit really hard. Dragon Pulse, obviously really strong stab, dragon type move, hits like a truck on the majority of different Pokemon. You have got a couple of fairies in Ubers, things like Xerneas and possibly even Zacian as well. But you have got Flamethrower for a bit of coverage on there. Zacian, I know, is part Steel type, at least the way it's typically used, and can hit really hard. Be hit really hard by that Flamethrower there as well. You've obviously got a couple of other Steel types that have been in Ubers. I can't think what they are off the top of my head, but I know there is at least one more Steel type Uber Pokemon, which I can't think of off the top of my head, which is really annoying. But you have got like Flamethrower just for coverage on there as well. You've got things like Pheromosa, which are weak to the Flamethrower also, and that's in Ubers. And then that Hyper Voice is just a normal type attack. It hits the majority of Pokemon for neutral damage, and as I said, it's there to get that Throat Spray +1. Ability-wise, for singles, you're only going to want to go for pressure, and this is kind of good because a lot of the legendary Pokemon have specific moves that are learned only just by them, and they normally have pretty low PP, so they can only be used 3 or 4 times with pressure as your ability maximum. So having that can be really helpful in this specific scenario, but they also can have coverage moves which can have like 15, 20 PP, which it's very difficult to get them to run out of those of PP in those moves. The other ability is Telepathy. Now that's only good in doubles, which obviously if you're going for a double set, then definitely Telepathy is going to be better than pressure, but for singles, pressure is just better because it's the only one that's viable. The last move I've got on this set is Thunder Wave. Thunder Wave allows you to slow down the opponent's Pokemon, you half their speed, and also have the chance to fully paralyze them, which can be absolutely huge, especially with Dialga being quite slow naturally. So you can half their speed, possibly outspeed them. In most cases you will outspeed them, and that will allow for you to possibly get the paralysis there as well, so you get a free turn of damage. EVs, there are a couple of ways to run this. You could run this as max special attack, max speed with a timid nature, so more speed, less attack, to be as fast as possible. But if you wanted to, you could go a bit more of a bulky variant and go for like max HP, max special attack with a modest nature, so more special attack, less attack, 4 EVs and special defense, and that would allow you to live a few more hits. And if you get the Thunder Wave off, potentially would also give you the opportunity to slow down Pokemon to the point where they are definitely slower than you. So you might have to run a couple of EVs in your speed, but typically it's going to work quite nicely for you in that case. Moving on to the second Dialga, this is probably my favourite set for any Ubers Pokemon that I have come up with, and it is a Stealth Rock Body Press Iron Defense set. I love these sets. They are so annoying to deal with, especially if you've got a Pokemon that is set up like 1 or 2 Iron Defenses. It can really cause a lot of problems for the opponent's team, especially if it's a really physical team. that can't hit you too well. I've gone for Leftovers as the item here to allow you to heal yourself up a little bit, because honestly, healing up could definitely help you in this scenario because you are going to take damage. Move-wise, Stealth Rocks allows you to set up Stealth Rocks on the opponent's field, obviously as it says in the name, and it will get chip damage every time they switch in a different Pokemon unless they're holding heavy duty boots. But that chip damage can be really helpful. One, it can break things like sashes. I know Pheromosa likes to run Focus Sash a lot, so having that there to deal with that can definitely be beneficial. You have got a lot of kind of flying dragon types in here potentially. You've got things like Rayquaza in there. That's the only one I can think off the top of my head, but you've got things like Veltal as well. And that Stealth Rocks can just get rid of bits of damage on them, and even if it's not super effective on them, it is still going to do some chip damage to them, which can be really helpful. You've got Body Press, which is a powerful fighting type attack, in the sense that it goes on the defense rather than the attack, and using that Body Press after you've got a Iron Defense up is going to do a lot more damage to a lot of different Pokemon. Just be cautious obviously of the flying type Pokemon that are around, because that is not going to be very effective against them, so it might not work as well. Iron Defense, as I said, doubles your defense from 372 in this case to 790 something, I think. No, that's lower than that. 740 something, 744 I think. Obviously very, very high from one Iron Defense. If you can get 2 Iron Defenses up, you are going to be hitting so hard on different things, especially if your opponent doesn't have any special Pokemon with them. And then you've got Raw. Raw forces the switch out into another Pokemon. That combines really nicely with the Stealth Rock. It is minus priority, but as you are quite slow, you're likely to go second anyway, so it can be really helpful in that scenario also. So Stealth Rocks and Raw combines really nicely, along with the Body Press and Iron Defense. If you wanted to separate those sets and have like Stealth Rock, Raw, 2 attacking moves, or Body Defense, or Body Press, Iron Defense, with 2 other attacking moves like Iron Head, or even if you're going special like Dragon Pulse, Flash Cannon, something like that. If you want to go for that, you definitely can. You can split this set across to 2 different types of sets, but I like running it as an altogether one set. I think it works quite nicely. It synergizes relatively well, but I can definitely see why people might want to run it separately. EVs, max HP, max defense with an impish nature, so more defense, less special attack, and 4 EVs in special defense. This allows you to be as defensive as possible, live some hits. If you've got a Will-O-Wisp Pokemon as well, that can make a huge difference. It can cause, obviously, even less damage to be taken by you, and hopefully that leftover healing up could be helpful. Just obviously be cautious of things like crit moves. And moving on to the third Dialga, I have gone for a Dynamax set. Now on here I've put the Adamant Orb, although the Adamant Orb isn't very good. The Adamant Orb allows us to get 1.2 times damage on our Steel type moves and our Dragon type moves. So in this case Iron Head and Dragon Claw. And honestly, 1.2 for those 2 specific stats is very lackluster. As a legendary specific item, it is not very good. Hopefully in the remakes we might get some kind of like primal form or something, but I don't know if we will. But yeah, we've got the Adamant Orb on here as an option. I just wanted to show it off because it is something that it can hold, but you could always go for like a Choice Band if you wanted to get locked into a move. You could go for Life Orb, which is 1.3 times damage, which is obviously better than the 1.2 on those 2 specific type moves. So you definitely can go for different options. You even go for any berries on here, like Shucker Berry, or the Fighting Reducing Berry, which I don't actually know its name off the top of my head. But yeah, there's lots of different items that you can run on Dialga, and this is specifically a Dynamax version of Dialga. So we've got it Dynamaxes, the Brick Break turns to Max Knuckle, increasing up your attack stat by 1 stage, which can be really helpful because obviously having that extra power in Ubers can be helpful with lots of Pokemon that have really high defense stats. You've got Iron Head, which turns to Max Steel Spike, increasing up your defense stat by 1 stage. Now again, you could use Body Press instead of Brick Break. It would still turn to the Max Knuckle, but it would synergize quite well with the raising up through the Max Steel Spike as well. So there's an option for you to consider running. Earthquake, which goes to Max Quake, increasing up your special defense by 1 stage. It could be really helpful for you. And finally, Dragon Claw, which goes to Max Wormend, I think is what it's called, and that lowers the opponent's attack, so it could be helpful if they're trying to set up, but at the same time, it's just a stab, strong attack, which can hit really hard on different Pokemon. yeah, so that's kind of the thought process on those moves. And when you come out, if you've got a choice band, obviously you get locked in, but you have got some really good versatile moves there to use. For the brick break, if you've got something that set up screens, for example, that brick break can get rid of them, which can be really helpful for you. EVs for this one: max attack, max speed with a jolly nature, so more speed, less special attack, and 4 EVs in special defense. But you could always run max HP, max attack with an adamant nature if you wanted to. It's entirely up to you based on what your team is looking like and how you're wanting to run it. Anyways, that is all for today, so I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please do like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Anyways, I'm out of here, so have a good one, and I will see you soon.